Today in the crypto space, the battle continues. Bitcoin around 65,000, getting a bit of negative pressure to the downside. Ethereum right around that $3,500 mark, up approximately 1%. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, mix of green and red throughout the market. Definitely some good gainers like Doge, ICP, and CFX. However, guys, there are a few dips like Tau, Near Protocol, and Rune, just to name a few. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one layer one major project that lasted a while, and that is Near Protocol. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the general market. Let's scrape through the top 100. We'll take a look at Bitcoin as a leading indicator. And then, of course, I want to talk about Near Protocol. Near Protocol is definitely an up-and-coming layer one, base layer type of project that is definitely looking great, is getting involved in the AI narrative. Its ecosystem is young, a lot of good potential momentum to the upside left in it for this up-and-coming bull run, a lot of good bullish sentiment. The overall market, has been thinking that Near Protocol could be an up-and-coming competitor to some of the major leaders in the smart contract space. And of course, some of those names, Ethereum, Solana, and many more. So we're going to take a look at we're going to take a look at Near Protocol and try to figure out whether this is the right time to start scaling in. All right, before we do that, let's take a look at the general market. We can see that Solana, making a lower high is not the greatest look, coming back to previous lows, obviously puts a bit of pressure. If we start breaking down, guys, we can see Sol breaking down to slightly lower levels. Guys, I did mention earlier on in previous videos, talking about Solana, talking about AVAX, talking about many other great gainers in the last little while, especially these larger cap altcoins that have been running. It's very smart right now to have a defensive plan, especially Solana. Solana right now has been doing very well. The Sol coin itself has been doing really well. Many projects built on Solana are doing amazing, but it would be smart to say take a bit of profits off of Sol, and if you're still bullish on the Solana ecosystem, diversify the risk. Right now you can see how Sol is quite frothy up there. Take a bit of profits and look for projects that are built on the Solana ecosystem that have yet to pop, that have yet to grow. And at the end of the day, there are many that are small market cap. All right. So continue doing that research, guys. When you see the market boring sideways, like today was a pretty boring day, it is the perfect time to start investing in yourself, looking into some of these projects, looking into some of the ecosystem and narratives that could be up and coming for the bull run. All right, guys. And remember, the bull run could start any moment. In fact, many people that believe that this is the bull run, we are definitely in a nice bullish rally to the upside, and a good confirmation would be let's get a nice flush of the market to continue to the upside. However, we don't know if that's going to happen. This is why I am not prepared to try to catch a bottom here. Guys, we're going to be DCAing to great projects at the bottom of the range, at healthy risk to reward ratio opportunities, and that way we can prepare a portfolio for the bull run. We're not trying to time bottoms because that's how you get wrecked. All right, let's continue here. Let's see what's going on. Dogecoin looking pretty good with that nice pop to the upside, up approximately 6%. AVAX still not looking great. If you compare the Solana chart and the AVAX chart, it's very similar in the sense that it does look like we are making that lower high after a major run to the upside, and you can see that that head and shoulders type of scenario kind of playing out with that clear neckline, especially on AVAX. So these are things that we got to keep in mind now. We have structure that we need to hold up. If we can hold it up, if the bulls can hold up the structure, guys, it looks like we could get another pop to the upside. Remember, head and shoulders formations only get negative or bearish when they break necklines. As of now, we're above the neckline, which is good, and we are seriously at critical levels for Bitcoin, looking for a bounce in the short term. Guys, we'll take a look at Bitcoin in a second, guys, because it's very, very important that Bitcoin gets support any second. That's what we really need. Let's continue going down. Polkadot going sideways, not bad of a time to start scaling in. I'm starting to become more and more bullish on the Polkadot ecosystem, on Kusama, and the substrate projects, given that there's a lot of tech that still needs to grow and a lot of good opportunity there. When you see growth and potential utility, that is an opportunity to take advantage of. So that's why I like Near Protocol as well, right? It's the same concept. Near Protocol, in my opinion, is still undervalued, and it's still in the growth phase, which means that I could grow alongside Near Protocol and Polkadot and a lot of other projects that are up and coming. So let's just keep an eye out for them, because those are definitely opportunities, and shy away from the ones that have been running really, really strong in the last little while. Like, look at Near Protocol, definitely at the bottom of the range, back again, 6% to the downside. Last 7 days, 20% dip. It had some good bullish interactions with Nvidia and the conference that it had this week, so that's a bullish sense. It's getting involved in a very bullish narrative, and it's been hammering out some great tech throughout the bear market. So what else really do we need fundamentally, right? Deep dive worthy, of course, and price action is giving us decent entry, so taking a bit of calculated risk at the bottom of the range is exactly what I plan on doing. All right, stacks looking good, nice run to the upside, and you can see the general market is still grinding to the downside in the short term. Remember what I said yesterday, both live and in the pre-record. I mentioned that the 4 hours looking bullish, and that was yesterday. The 4 hours looking bullish, while the daily still remains looking bearish, which means that we could be getting this short-term relief to the upside while still maintaining the trend on the daily, which is to the downside. So until the daily shows me some good positivity, right, we still have to maintain that stance that the daily could be pushing prices lower, while the 4 hour is battling it out, trying to defend itself and get that relief to the upside on the shorter terms. Okay, so we'll take a look at all of this again tonight at 7:30 Eastern. Feel free to join, guys. I take requests. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a great time and place to make those requests, and we can definitely see there are good opportunities. Render's another one, back to the bottom of the range pretty much in the short term, down 10% today. Is it going to hold support, maintain structure? And that when we have those questions in mind, if it's going to maintain structure, it gives us an indication that it is very possible that we can have a great risk to reward ratio. Why? Because our invalidation is clear. If it breaks structure, you can get out and stop yourself out, and that's how you mitigate your risk, right? And the potential to get a bounce is there, and we could potentially get going to the upside again, making your reward good. So if your risk is mitigated and your reward is definitely there for a nice bounce, risk to reward ratio, guys, not a bad time to get in when you have a healthy one. Okay, so let's continue going down. Kaspa getting a nice bounce to the upside, 12.5%. Smart contracts doing its thing. The great community, strong community. Obviously, I'm a holder and I'm a bag holder of Kaspa, and I believe in the long-term possibilities on Kaspa. But still, if you look at what Kaspa has been doing in the last little while, right now it's at a $3.4 billion market cap, which means that there's limited growth in the short term here for Kaspa. We're not talking about a micro cap. We're not talking about a small project anymore. What we really have to be doing is understanding that Kaspa done a great job running to this level, and at the end of the day, yes, it could keep on growing in this bull run, but it's not going to give you the major gains that you're expecting if you get into a micro cap or a lower cap altcoin. So me personally, I'm still holding, but I'm still open to the idea of taking profit and putting into smaller caps. And even if the Kaspa ecosystem grows, I would still be interested in getting in ecosystem projects on Kaspa when that time comes around. All right, so let's keep that in mind. Injective, back at the bottom of the range doing its thing. We have Maker getting a nice bounce, 5%. But generally speaking, guys, the overall consensus here on the market is that we're still kind of, either coming down still or battling it out for a nice bottom going sideways. Sui's showing a little bit of strength, 13% to the upside. That's pretty good, guys. I'm looking for an entry. And if I don't get my entry on SUI itself, I'm definitely happy to get into ecosystem projects. And that's where I'm shifting to now. I don't have a position on TIA, I don't have a position on SUI, and I don't have a position on SEI, which doesn't mean that I can't get exposed to its ecosystem. I'm just going to be looking for lower caps within it, and that way I can have exposure and still maintain good entries, because I can find entries at lower levels on those ecosystem projects. So although I'm bullish, I'm not going to be jumping into a position on those heavyweights right now. They have run up significantly. Now SEI has been pulling back just so slightly. We'll keep an eye on SEI. We'll keep an eye on these guys to see if we can get great entries. Let's continue down. We'd see CFX looking good, back to the top of the range, 21%, so not bad of a scenario there. But guys, generally speaking, the market is struggling. The market is trying to hold support and battle the daily, while the 4 hour is doing all the heavy lifting at the current moment. Guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin our analysis talking about Bitcoin. Let's jump right in it. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, you know, is basically in a battlefield. That's the way it is. Where you can see that yesterday we did some great stuff here on the daily, nice green engulfing candle to the upside, and today we're getting a bit of red. We're getting a quick rejection at the top of the range here. Now, of course, I'm going to be getting into lower time frames, but it's very ideal to start looking at big picture. Why? Because big picture price action is going to give you an idea of what could possibly happen on the daily. The daily, at the end of the day, you can see the overall momentum is to the downside. So let's kind of look at this in a little bit more detail. We can see that the RSI, you know, definitely decided to come down to lower levels. And you guys know that I pay attention to mean reversion plays, which means that when the purple line and the yellow line are too extended away from each other, they tend to want to get back together, right? They have this relationship, right? They want to keep close, you know. So at the end of the day, we could see the RSI get back to the yellow and get a bit of relief to the upside, like we have done in the past, and we've seen it in the past. Or we can go sideways for a little while we wait for the yellow line to catch up, which we already have seen many times in this market. So either way, there's two possibilities: a nice little bit relief to the upside for Bitcoin, or we go a bit sideways here and wait. Now, going sideways means that we can consolidate right into this area. You know what? We have seen a bit of evidence here. We dipped, we got retracements that are really strong, and we're dipping again. Could we go sideways here in the next little while and form some sort of consolidation before we get another expansion? Now, to say that we're going to expand to the upside, it's a bit too early, because momentum right now on the RSI is still trekking to the downside. However, guys, from my experience, I've noticed that when we get in the chop zone of the RSI, which is the 50% mark of the RSI, it lends itself to go choppy. We'll likely see choppy price action here in the immediate short term. Now, we could get oversold, and we also see that the MACD is still pushing to the downside. EMAs are facing down, red histogram bars to the downside here on the daily. So the bearish stance on the daily is still here and very clear. Okay, just keep in mind that the last time we retraced, we didn't retrace to oversold conditions, and it could be possible that that happens again, right? So we got to keep in mind that we are in a very strong bullish trend in the last little while. And likely that we see a very good, a strong response from the bulls after a bearish response. And we will have to understand that the overall sentiment in the market could turn bullish, extremely bullish, bull run bullish any moment. The halving is around the corner, guys. We're about a month away, and it could be the catalyst for the bull run, which we get a strong bounce here, and retracements are not so deep in these conditions. So what we really have to do is understand that Bitcoin is retracing. Give it a bit of time. Let's kind of find some confluence in the price and in the chart so that we can make some informed decisions. Let's get onto the 4 hour real quick. We got a nice bounce on the 4 hour EMA. We are currently making an inverse head and shoulders, potentially. Last line in the sand is absolutely right now. Why? Because we have this left shoulder, and perhaps we come down, we get support on it, which we are doing right now. We need to bounce off of this level and get back up to the neckline, which is right around $68,674, which is a level that we talked about yesterday. This is exactly what we talked about yesterday live, and it is playing out almost to the T. So what we have to do is watch out here, because we have a bit of a diagonal. You know, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders can be diagonal, so it's totally fine. It's a part of the pattern, and we do see that the RSI might get a bounce off this EMA right here, the yellow line. We came back up, come back down, test the yellow line, and get a bounce and continue to the upside. So what we could see here is a pivot point. The only risk that we're taking at this current moment is that we come back down and get oversold. But as I mentioned before, since the trend is so strong to the upside in the last while and potentially bull run season is here, these resets to oversold conditions are not going to be as frequent, and maybe this may not be the time. So this is why DCAing is a great strategy. If we come back down and we break down lower, we could still make a higher low and still maintain a nice trend to the upside and use this 200 EMA on the 4-hour as support. But a bounce right off of this horizontal, where I'm showing you at about $65,204, would be great, given the fact that we have the previous high. We break this neckline, this diagonal line. Of course, you guys know that I don't like diagonals, but if we can break above this area right here, $68,640, give or take, it starts to look really good that we could come up and test higher levels, maybe even get back to the previous high at about, you know, 74K. That could be very possible. So the question is this a pivot point? Do we have any divergence? A bit of class C bullish divergence here on this lower low on the price action, double bottom on the RSI, which, you know, is class C bullish divergence. A bit of bullish divergence here on the MACD, lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the MACD histogram bars right here. So it's not bad, suggesting that the trend strength to the upside is definitely here. All right, guys, so this immediate short term, we got a bit of mix. This is why we're seeing that the market is very hesitant, not really confident in a direction. So let's jump right into Near Protocol. Let's see what's going on here. Let's just keep in mind that we are clear about what could be happening with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin comes down, Near Protocol is likely to continue. If Bitcoin gets a bounce, it's likely to follow Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin goes sideways, we're going to see a fat altcoin season. And of course, Near Protocol is going to take full advantage of it. And given the bullish sentiment in the last little while, I think Near Protocol will take full advantage. Now, we do see that it is in a retracement, and we can see that it did run up significantly in the last little while. Now, we can take a big picture approach, get into the daily, quick, and we can see that we, you know, are getting a decent retracement from the previous low. We can take a swing low. Let's get from here to the swing high, and you can see the retracement as we speak is still trying to hold support at the 0.38 Fibonacci level. With the 0.38, generally speaking, is just a healthy profit taking target. When it comes down to here, it's only a breather. It's only profit taking. If it breaks below the 0.38, guys, we get in a classification of a retracement. Golden pocket level could definitely be it. We have a bit of confluence, previous high, and a bit of a volume gap that we got to watch out for. So at the end of the day, we are in a retracement. We are trying to hold support on this previous price action, and the majority of the support is at $4.50. So who knows how low we could go. And at the end of the day, we see that the daily is still showing us that bearish stance with the MACD EMAs to the downside, red histogram bars, and we have the RSI still trekking to the downside, and very similar to Bitcoin. Is it going to go sideways a little bit while we get that, or are we going to get a bit of a bounce to the upside? You know, this is why we need to pay attention to Bitcoin. Bitcoin at the end of the day needs to kind of chill out and stop dipping before we can see the majority of the market take full advantage of the stability in Bitcoin, right? And including Ethereum, right? So that's pretty much it. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. The 4-hour is going to show us a very similar structure to Bitcoin, where it's trying to hold a bottom. It's trying to find its bottom in the 4 hours so that we can get going to the upside. Now, you can see that the RSI is not totally convinced in the fact that it's not oversold just yet. And in fact, it's been holding some support levels that it held in the past. Previous lows all into here on the momentum, which means that we could potentially come back up. Now, you can see that the RSI on the top side of the thing, right, is pretty much making a trend. No divergence just yet here on the 4-hour, higher highs, and then we got a bit of follow through, right? This is where we're getting this dip right here. So ultimately, this dip is potentially a decent retracement before we get a continuation to the upside. So the question is, how low can we go? I like the 200 EMA right here on the 4-hour chart. We have the volume gap right here, so I'm going to highlight that to make it, you know, relevant and important that we could be using this as a support level. And I would do want to highlight the importance of this volume gap right here, okay? And of course, I'm excluding previous price action at the current moment, just focusing on local price action. And now if we go on the daily, you can see, you know, there's a lot of price action here to act as support, a lot of noise, a lot of, you know, bullish sentiment. But the reality is, look at all this volume right into here. Market participation in this level is large. At the end of the day, a lot of people got in here. A lot of people, including myself, were buying the dips all into this level on Near Protocol. And all of a a sudden we got a bounce, we got a confirmation by back testing the breakout level of the previous high, and then started running. So you can imagine that at this level, individuals are taking profit. All these people that bought at the bottom, including myself, are interested in de-risking and looking for ecosystem projects within the Near protocol network. And that way you can take profits off of Near itself and still maintain a bullish stance within the ecosystem by supporting the projects that are built on it as a layer one. So guys, retracements are meant to be bought. Just understand that as we keep on coming down, it's likely that we eventually find the bottom. Let's use Bitcoin as that leading indicator. And understand that catching bottoms is quite dangerous, especially in a bullish run, because the dips don't last long and they continue to the upside. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. And of course, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.